everyone. This is Corine Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know how we do it here on Between the Lines? With gratitude, or some people will say thankfulness. Either one, it's all good to go. Once you're giving gratitude, that's the important thing. And I am above ground. I saw another day today. Isn't that awesome? Which means that I can do anything I desire to do. Because once you have breath, that means to say you are capable of doing anything. Okay? So I am thankful. I'm also thankful to have Arie Brish on my show once again. This is his, this is his second time around, hopefully not his last. He's a man that's always at it, always upgrading, leveling up, doing stuff, and wanting to come back on my show. He doesn't hesitate at all. And let me tell you a bit about what we're talking about today, just to remind myself change, leadership, and turnaround in a pandemic. Yes, change, leadership, and turnaround in a pandemic. And let me tell you a bit about Arie. So Ari is a cross-functional expert in growth strategies, commercializing innovation, change leadership, and turnaround. He's also a best-selling author of Lay an Egg and Make Chicken Soup. I remember discussing that with him before. How you move from the egg to the chicken soup. We had that discussion. You'll need to do a search on my website, or what I would do is on my YouTube channel, or what I would do is connect the two episodes so that you don't have to go look for it. Yeah, so that you'll have part one, the first discussion with Ari, and then this one today. So don't worry about it. I will make that connection. So Ari teaches and speaks frequently about commercializing innovation. He brings to the table lessons learned and best practices from a wide variety of projects in different industries and across diverse business disciplines. His business acumen includes board of directors and advisory boards, CEOs and GM roles, M&A, business development, turnarounds, and change leadership. Working with Fortune 500 corporations, startups, venture capitalists, and private equity consulting engagements, as well as nonprofits. It's great to have you here again, Ari, on Between the Lines.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here again.
Yes,
I think it was before COVID last time we talked, so it feels like
yeah,
a
it feels like
million
a long
years,
time.
passed.
Yeah, yeah, 2 years at least. Can you imagine?
Yeah, right. And the
Wow.
world has changed so much dramatically, so it's
In
good.
2 years. You
Yes,
see,
right.
when change, we're talking change.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
change has to happen, it doesn't have to take a long time.
yeah. Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
it fits well what we talked about last time, and what we are
exactly
going
why
to
I
talk about
chose it.
now.
Exactly. The thing about it is I put it in a pandemic because I know you deal with change leadership and turnaround and dealing with commercialization of products. So we're going to be putting it in the context of businesses, obviously, people who are in startup mode or even established, because the pandemic affected everybody from the lowest level, whatever the lowest level is,
Mhm.
to the highest level. Everybody, man, woman, child, even animals were affected, whether positively or negatively.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody was affected, and they're still trying to cope with it. And the thing about it is that COVID isn't going anywhere. So change is inevitable. And whether we wanted to accept it um, or not, we have to go with it.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
to go with it. You may hear a bit of knocking in the back. That's my neighbor. I don't know what they're doing over there. They're always doing stuff. So just
I'll
ignore.
I'll I'll talk to them later.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, Ari, one of the first things people might ask me if they're listening to this episode is your lovely accent. So let's get that out of the way and tell us a bit about where you're from.
Okay, cool. So yeah, everybody. By the way, everybody has an accent.
It is
It's
true,
just
but you
different
have a
accents in different.
lovelier accent. Come
Yes, yes.
on, come
Thank you.
on.
So I grew up in Israel and went to school in Israel and started my career there working for American companies and did lots of travel back and forth between the US and Israel until I got stuck in one of the trips. I stayed. It was supposed to be 3 years, and now 30 something years later, I'm still here.
You added a zero. a zero plus to that.
Yeah,
From
right,
3 years to 30
exactly.
plus.
So in my old age, I'm still working on my accent, but the good news, I don't have to repeat. Back in the days when I first came here, I had to say everything like 3 or 4 times until people will understand. Now people understand me after the first time I say that. So that's
It
an improvement.
That's change for you. That's
Yeah,
30
yeah,
plus years of working.
yeah.
But your accent has still remained, even though you have been living in the US.
Right.
Imagine that. You don't
Yeah.
sound American. You don't sound anything like that, anything near it. Your
There
English
is,
has improved, but I love it.
yeah, there is an thank you. There is an age thing. Usually, kids when they move to a different countries around after the age of 12 to 15,
Mhm.
there is always some a little accent remaining. If you
Yeah.
move to a different countries before that, so kids that
Yes.
live in different countries when they are very young, they
Yes.
can adjust their accent no matter what. Something
Yes.
in your, facial, muscle memory that,
I like that. I like that. I like that. But that's okay. Keep the accent that you have. It's working for you. It's working for you. So we're talking change and the pandemic. And like you said before, anybody thinking and having conversations now, it's just been 2 years. If 2 years at all, I
Mhm.
think it's almost 2 years or just about 2 years.
Yeah,
But it seems as if it's much longer than that.
yes, right, yeah,
And we were thrown into this thing. At least I shouldn't say, well, yes, we were all thrown into it. The reason why I was hesitant in what I was about to say is because work from home, which is what people are doing now, seems like a novelty. It seems new. But working from home has been going on for many years. I have
right,
been doing this all my life.
yeah,
So I am like, you just woke up to this thing of working from home. And the whole concept of working from home within 2 years has actually switched in terms of status quo with those persons who are working in an office.
yeah,
So right now, persons who are working in an office is actually below, and the people who are working from home are
yeah,
actually at the top. It's like, where are you working? You're having a conversation, and the
mhm,
person says, I have to go into office. You're like, what? You
yeah,
still go into the office?
yeah, 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 right. You're
I
the
work from home.
dinosaur. You go to the office, you're a dinosaur.
Yeah, when working from home, when before in my years from 2003 working from home, and I said they'll be like, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
You're not doing anything. How could you be working from home?
yeah,
You make money from that?"
right, yeah,
But now it's like a big deal, and
yeah,
that just took 2 years,
yeah.
and people are still
You and I are pioneers in that respect.
people are still trying to understand, and people need to understand this before we go into the whole discussion, because this is all part of change. Working remotely or virtually from when I started is not the same concept as what they see working from home within the past 2 years.
Hmm.
It is much more than what they think.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, it requires much more: the discipline, the personality, the setup.
right.
It
Yes,
requires much more than what you think. It's not just a matter that your boss tells you within the pandemic,
yeah,
work from home, and you stay home and you work a few days, and it is not that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
But Ari, we're talking businesses and commercialization and product. how how have businesses had to change now and moving forward? Because as we say, the pandemic is not going anywhere. What are the changes that needs to happen moving forward, because we are on the brink of 2022? What are the changes that need to happen for startups, people who want to get into business now? Yeah, even start up a store or something online,
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever it may be. What are the changes they need to consider, and what type of products and services that are the going type of services and products that we should focus on moving towards 2022?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an excellent question, very timely.
Yes.
Um, First of all, about working from home, there are at least 2 or 3 aspects to that. One is you need, as you said, you need to have the self discipline to do your job without your boss watching
Gotcha.
you every minute. And some people are not used to it. If the boss is not watching, they'll go to sleep or whatever.
Yeah,
You and I, we have been working from home. I started to work from home around 2004,
yeah.
and I'll tell you maybe more about why and what have you. So you need a self-disciplined personality that you do your job regardless of being micromanaged by your boss or not. You
Mm-hmm.
have a milestone to reach, next month or next year or 6 months from now, and you do it regardless of
Yeah.
supervision or no supervision. So this is one. It's kind of a personality thing. Okay. The other thing is technology, like the discussion we have now with the
Mm-hmm.
video
Mm-hmm.
wasn't possible until only a few years ago. Back in the days, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when people wanted to have a video call, we had to book a special video conference room, and it cost fortune. I don't remember, $500 an hour or something outrageous like this. And
Yeah.
now here we are doing it
Yeah.
for free from our office. So the
Yeah.
technology moved that made it happen. If COVID happened 20 years ago, it would be a total disaster.
Oh, wow.
Now the technology allows business continuity.
Mm.
Even you have to change a little bit, work from home or from the office or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you, but at least you have the technology to support it. Now, if you remember, even 2 years ago when it all started, this video technology was a little shaky.
Yeah.
If you remember, you had to close all the websites. You have just one window focused on this video,
Yeah.
and then it will drop. Within 1 hour of conversation, the video call would drop several
Mm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's pretty smooth. So
Mm-hmm.
the technology improved even within these 2 years. The technology improved significantly to make it happen. One of the things I talk in the book, here's the book. One of the things I talk in the book is something called learning curve. So every time you start something new, or you have a change, or you have a disruption imposed on you, like the COVID, you're being thrown to something you're not used to do, and then you slowly you're improving your behavior, you're improving your processes, your business to a point. So over time, you learn to cope with the change and improve your business performance, performing to the change. So once again, you go back to the individuals. You improve your how you run your business individually, working from home or using video and what have you, and also the people that supply the technology, the Zoom of the world and the Cisco's of the world. They improve their technology to make it possible now to do it so smoothly today that 2 years ago it would drop. Like I teach now in the university, and when I start a class, the class would be interrupted like 2 or 3 times within the hour. And the last semester, it never happened. It was smooth all the way. Some classes were 3 hours on a call like this, no interruptions at all. A year ago, it would drop 2 or 3 times during the class. So the technology, also the improvement in technology, is also part of the learning curve of the technology providers.
Yeah. But we're moving forward into 2020, and I'm thinking to myself, they're using this new word now. I mean, they call it new, but I'm familiar with the word pivot.
Yes.
Where you have to, because I do dancing, and pivoting is something that we do in dance. Okay,
Okay.
so when I heard pivoting,
Okay, an action item for you to send me a dancing video after this.
oh, lovely. I'm a dancer. I mean, they kind of cut off my dancing somewhat because I
Yeah.
can't dance with anybody here right now in the pandemic. So that's the one thing I'm very upset about.
Mm-hmm.
But other
Mm-hmm.
than that, okay. So pivoting is something that we are familiar with in dancing. And so now it's being used as a major, like it's a new term in in the world now with the pandemic. So people now have to switch, just make that switch. You're still in place, but you just change angle. And now I'm wondering what businesses, when they look, if they're doing that, if they're looking and evaluating, assessing how things have been and where they need to go. So traditional brick and mortar businesses, a lot of them have closed down. A lot of them don't know what to do. They were not techie. They weren't thinking that because they were so comfortable over the 20, 30, 40 years of existence. People come into their store, walk around, buy things, hang around, cough, sneeze, spit
Mm-hmm.
on people, that kind of a thing. And they were used to that. And so they were not prepared about moving virtually. Even though the world has moved virtually for some time, they were not. Because places like Shopify and other online places have been around for many years,
Right.
encouraging people to set
Yeah.
up an online store. So
Yeah.
where have they been?
Yeah.
Where
Right.
have they
Exactly.
been? So
Yeah.
I am saying it's comfort.
Mm-hmm.
They have gotten comfortable in
Exactly.
what they were doing
Exactly.
and
Mm-hmm.
thinking, okay, I am making money. I am not, I'm good. And this is how it's going to be until I die, pass on to my children.
Yeah.
And boom,
Yeah.
pandemic hits. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, hell, what am I going to do? I can't survive. No money. I have to close down.
Yeah.
What do they need to start thinking about now? Do people need to feel? Because I'm thinking they're going back into a comfort zone. This whole vaccination and all of that is
Yeah.
to get
Mm-hmm.
people back into comfort as opposed
Yeah.
to realizing
Yeah.
you need to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Stop being comfortable because the world is not staying comfortable for you.
Yeah. Right. The world is evolving. The workplace is evolving.
Constantly,
Everything is
Ari,
evolving. So
constantly.
exactly. So if you stay in what you're used to, eventually you're going to fall off, even without a crisis like COVID. In,
Even without.
yeah, in any profession, if you stay in the same thing you did in 1990,
My
eventually you will
God,
fall off from your
you become
profession.
obsolete.
Exactly. Whether you
You're not
are
useful.
exactly,
Whether it's a machine replace you or another more
exactly,
educated, more forward
exactly,
thinking human being replace you, stop
exactly,
being
exactly,
comfortable.
exactly,
Stop being
exactly,
comfortable.
exactly. There is
So
a saying: if you're too comfortable, something is wrong. So you need to think about proactively change something in your work, in your business, or
So
whatever. Because
just be open to change and be
exactly.
willing to
Hmm.
just try.
Hmm.
And I think people are also on a fear. They're afraid of
Yeah,
failing, but
yeah, yeah.
failing is the best thing to do.
Yeah, right, right, exactly. So that's going back to this concept of the learning curve. Every few years, you have to force yourself to jump on a different technology, and then at the beginning, it's very uncomfortable, and you think, "Oh, why do I need this technology? If I do it the old way, I do it much faster and better." No, but the technology will allow you to, after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, will allow you to be so much more productive than you were 3 years ago in whatever you are doing. Whether you are a
Yes,
waiter in a restaurant or you are an engineer or a doctor or a nurse, you have
it
to
doesn't matter.
continuously adjust and adapt to new technologies.
I am hearing, Ari, that they're even paying people. What do they call it? It's like, I call it like motivation money for them to come back to work. People are not
Yes,
going back to work.
yes, yes, right. So
This
here,
is like they were waiting for this opportunity to say, hell no, I fire you and I am not coming back
yeah.
here again.
So here in the US, it's definitely happening where people are not going back to their old jobs, whether they got burned or they found a new job. So they're not going to quit the new job that they found a year ago to go back to the job they had 3 years before. So you see, restaurants are the ones that were hit. Restaurants and hotels are the ones that were hit the most from this COVID, and now they have hard time to rehire people. So they raise the hourly rate. They have sign-in bonus now in restaurants. That's unheard of before COVID, and still they have hard time. Like I went to a lunch with a friend yesterday to a restaurant we used to meet often before COVID, and they are closed for lunch. They do only dinner now. Why? Because they cannot, they don't have enough people to serve both lunch and dinner. So they decided, okay, we'll do dinner only, and that just because of shortage of people. One of the things you see in ports now all over the world is that ships are waiting to unload, right? And the reason for that, one of the reasons is that the people that work in the ports are not coming back to work either. So they found different jobs, or the truck driver found a different job somewhere, driving for Amazon, delivering packages for Amazon or whatever it is. So it caused a clog in the ports, and it's 2 months before Christmas. It's really becoming a big problem that some
Wow.
of the gifts people ordered for Christmas are not going
To arrive in
to arrive on
time.
time. Maybe Christmas 2022.
You know what I have observed and felt? Because, like I say, this type of isolated life is nothing new to me. I am
Mhm.
used to this from
Yeah,
2003.
right.
Okay. I've been using the technology, all of that. I've been staying by myself. I love being by myself. A lot of other people can't
Yeah,
be by themselves, but I
right.
love it. And I am seeing people realizing for once in their life, Ari, what really matters. They were
Yes.
running behind the money, the status, the
Hmm.
car,
Yeah,
the suit, the tie,
yeah,
the so-called friends.
yeah,
And now it's like, oh my God, I have had the time to really look at my life,
yeah,
look at my business, and realize what was all that about?
yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Why was I running down all of this?
Yeah, right.
What really matters. So when you
Mhm.
talk about driving a truck for Amazon, somebody may have moved from an executive position to driving a truck. No,
Mhm.
I would enjoy driving a truck
Yeah, yeah,
because it's me alone in the truck with
right.
my
Yeah,
music,
yeah, right. Exactly.
free road, okay?
Yes.
And I am just enjoying the scenery, the music in my ears. I
Mhm.
deliver something, nobody to stress me. I might be getting less pay, but looky, I am the happiest person on
Yeah,
earth.
yeah, right. Yes, yes. So I teach now with my students, people our age, probably had to change career 2 or 3 times.
Mhm.
I tell my students now they need to be prepared to change their career 4, 5, 6 times because everything changing so quickly now. Back my dad used worked for the same company all his career. For 50 years, he worked for one employer. That doesn't happen anymore, right?
No way for sure. And the younger generation is not staying anywhere any length of time. They
Right.
are absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think it's necessary for your own sanity mentality. It's important. And we're talking change leadership. We're talking leadership is not only for a manager in a company, you are your own CEO,
Hmm.
and that is
Hmm.
what people
Yeah.
need to understand. You
Right.
are your own CEO, whether you
Hmm.
realize it or not.
Hmm.
Your company is Corine Lafont. Your
Yes.
company is
Hmm.
Arie Brish.
Yes. Correct.
And
Absolutely.
you, exactly, and you run this company,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
nobody could tell you how to run it. You
Exactly.
must decide what the values are, what you stand by,
Hmm.
how many hours you want to work, how many hours you want to sleep, how many hours you want to vacation,
Yeah. Hmm.
how many hours you want to have dinner with Ari,
Hmm.
have lunch with Corine. You can decide as CEO
Yeah.
of your own
Hmm.
company.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
So that
Correct.
is all part of leadership. To me,
Yeah.
you are the leader of this
Hmm.
business.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the thing that people now pay attention more is work life balance. So people, enslaved themselves in their career, but now they're more
Gee.
balancing their life now after they saw that life can be different.
Ah, so
So
when persons at first, when the pandemic hit, people were like, "Oh my God, COVID, COVID, COVID."
yeah,
Now they're like, "Oh, thank you for
yeah,
COVID."
exactly, exactly, exactly.
It took them a little time. Thank you for COVID. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was
Yes,
talking to a couple of friends yesterday, and they're like, "When last did you hear anybody have the flu? You don't
yeah,
see much people get
yeah,
it
yeah.
because they were nasty all along."
Right,
Okay.
exactly,
They were
exactly.
nasty.
Yeah.
And they're now learning, or some of them are learning cleanliness. And I'm like, I thought this was taught at your home, in your
Hmm.
schools.
Yeah,
You didn't know that you were nasty all along.
yeah.
You were nasty. Okay. So it's not COVID that you have to blame. It's you, the humans, and
Hmm.
the virus, as
Right.
people say. It's
Yeah.
not COVID.
Hmm.
COVID came to show you who you really are and what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. You need an interruption like this to stop and start think, okay, what's important, what's not, and how do I adapt to a change. And every few years there is a major change, right? If you think back 20, 40, 50 years, every 5 or 10 years there is something in the world that changed
It's
the way you do.
always,
There is
always.
September 11, there is
Uh,
COVID, there is whatever, there is all.
yeah, there's always a change. And you see, it comes back to the two things we were saying. Don't live off of fear and don't live within your comfort zone. You have to
Mhm.
be ready to roll.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to be ready to pivot. You have to be
Mhm.
ready to adapt.
Yes,
Or else you become like a dinosaur. You become
yes,
extinct. What
yes,
you're just
yeah. Hmm.
not serving a purpose anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ari, I want to switch to your website and I want you to help me focus on what you want me to pinpoint while I do that. Let me see if I can get over there. Give me a second. Here we go.
Oh,
So we're on your website.
that looks
So tell
familiar.
me,
Thank you.
it
Yeah,
does, right?
yeah,
So let me get over there and navigate the page. So tell me,
yeah.
what would you like
So
to focus on?
yeah, there is. I don't even remember what tab there is. There is downloads. So the
Uh-huh.
focus of the book in general is all the details you need to look after or watch for when you do a new business or a new product or a new service.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a free download somewhere that gives you a
I'm seeing
checklist.
it. Yes,
This is
I'm
the book
seeing a
itself.
brief.
So
Okay.
oh, free download. Yeah, yeah. Okay. If you click
Uh-huh.
on the free download,
Okay.
there is lots of material here that is free,
Mm-hmm.
and basically almost the whole wisdom of the book is in these free downloads. The only difference between the book and the free downloads, the book has many, many more examples. So every time I say, okay, you look for XYZ, the
Mm-hmm.
book will have several examples of XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
people did right or wrong or mistakes about this or that in business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the free downloads are pretty dry. They just give you a
Mm-hmm.
list of what to look for. The book has real business or real life stories about different businesses and how they addressed a certain business challenge. And by the
Awesome.
way, the examples in the book are industry agnostic. I have all kinds of industries covered and also from all over the world. I try to make an effort to be global and different industries so people can learn from one another. We talked about flexibility. You can
Mm-hmm.
you can be in industry X and there might be something in industry Y you can learn from.
That's right.
So that's very important. Like I give one example. We had when I worked for Motorola back in the days, we launched a new product, and I took an idea from one of the airlines how to support a new product. So it was totally different business from an airline to a technology product. but there was an idea in the airline of service that I adapted to our business, and you can see that all along, whether you're a hospital or a hotel or a taxi driver or a hair salon or trying to fly to Mars. There is the business challenges are very similar. The technologies and the details are different, but the overall challenge from a business point of view are pretty similar. That you need to learn from one another.
Awesome. And persons can reach you via this email here that I'm showcasing on the
Yes.
screen.
Hmm.
Yes, and I just showed a bit about your services.
Yes. So the
Yeah.
type of services I provide, I advise companies when they need help in launching new products or fundraising for a new company, things like that. And in many cases, entrepreneurs are first time entrepreneurs or second time entrepreneurs. Even after they did it 3 or 4 times, it's good to have some outside. I've worked with hundreds of companies, hundreds of new products. So I saw, I'm trying to say I saw all the mistakes in the book. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
which sometimes people think, oh, you're too pessimistic. No, I'm not pessimistic. There is something called, that's another important thing. Whenever you make a change or a new product or a new service, the risk is much higher than if you keep doing what you're doing. When you do what you're doing, everything is more or less predictable. When you do something new, there is many more risks just from the fact that it's new, so you don't know what's waiting for you around the corner. So
That's
there is
right.
a whole chapter about risk management. You have to how to list the different risks, how to brainstorm either with yourself or with other people. People will tell you, okay, have you looked at this? Did you consider that? And you make a list of all the risks that are possible waiting for you, and then you start to think, okay, how do I mitigate all these risks, or at least the important ones?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, life is all about change. And I mean, we see it. I'm watching the weather here right now. It was completely sunny, and all of a sudden it's changing to rain. And after that, it will come back to
I
sunny.
hope it's not my fault.
It is. It is. Now that you mention it, yes, it is. And so, right? Yes, it is. You see, if you were here with me in Trinidad and Tobago, that would not
Sun would
happen.
shine all the time. We used to say here in Texas, if you don't like the weather, wait another hour, it will change for sure. So it looks like Trinidad is the same.
Right? That is what it is. So it will even rain so heavy with thunder and lightning, and before you know it, it's sunny. Nobody would think that that kind of weather happened here a while ago.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
just that, if the weather could change, if leaves could change, why it is that we can't change, our
Yeah,
business can't change,
exactly.
and if sudden things could happen in nature, why it can't
Yeah,
happen in business environments? Come
yeah,
on, stop being
yes,
comfortable, stop being
yes.
fearful.
Mhm, mhm.
Ari, this has been awesome. It's always great to have you on my show.
Well, thank you.
Always.
It was too
Yes.
long.
Yes, you waited for the pandemic to come in order to come
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
show. Yes, it's okay. It's okay. Next time you will know better.
yeah.
But thank you so much. We are always
Okay.
sharing
Thanks for
gems.
having
You're
me.
always, it's always a pleasure having you. You take care and all the best to you.
Okay, bye bye.